Welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devin Decker, and joining me as always, Sejohn. Tonight we start somewhere that we rarely go. It seems that we only go there when it is a local team that is involved. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about some sports.
Oh man! All right, let's do this. Some sports ball. Can I ask which sports ball we're talking about tonight?
We're talking about basketball.
Okay, good. All right, that's one of the many sports balls I'm aware of.
And here's the thing: the only reason that we're talking about it is because it involves one of Sejohn's favorite films, Space Jam.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching Game 3 last night, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, which this is an ironic game to talk about because you're in Ohio, I'm over here in New England, and this is like basically New England versus Ohio.
Yeah.
The semifinals of basketball. The Cavaliers last night came out to the Monstars theme and then proceeded to lose by 3 points to the Celtics, who they had swiftly swept the floor with in
the
games
night before.
1 and 2.
Yeah. They had been kicking the crap out of them, and then they had the nerve to come out to the Monstars theme. Those assholes.
Well, like, dude, it's not like a matter of nerve or anything like that. It's like they're the fucking bad guys.
What did you think? What did you think was going to happen? And this is also on the tail of like all of these rumors about Kobe being the one that was going to be in the reboot or sequel, right? Like, wasn't he supposed to be the one in Space Jam 2?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, you're way more connected to Space Jam than I am. I have one fun fact about Space Jam, and that it was the first wide market commercially available DVD was Space Jam.
Well, and you remember Larry Bird was also a big character in that movie who was a Celtic. So,
yes.
And he was shown to be and he helps out the Looney Tunes. So, like,
dude, it's just like a dumb thing. Like, I understand that
the Celtics were always the good guys, and then the Monstars theme, they were playing with fire the whole night.
Dude, Isaiah Thomas like compared them to the Monstars. He said like like the Monstars who are like saying that we're the underdogs, because if you remember your Space Jam, ladies and gentlemen, the Toons are the underdogs because the Monstars are basically like the nightmare team, right? Because
they're literally genetically engineered basketball players. Like,
no. You're confusing it with Futurama.
No. They steal the powers of basketball players, so that is the power that like creates them.
But they're not genetically engineered. I feel like a genetically engineered thing would be like if those nimblets were grown in a lab specifically to play basketball, genetically engineered. They
are grown.
They're not.
They are grown specifically to play basketball. That is, they literally grow in front of you to play basketball.
But not in a lab. They use a magical basketball.
Well, it's magic to us, but it's science to that race, I bet. Like, you're talking about alien technology that we don't understand. Did you think it was a fantasy movie? It's a scientific movie. It's a science fiction film.
Yeah, but regardless, I'm watching it at the end of the game. I did not I did not know about the Monstars thing, but I put on the game right at the end, and I watched them sink that three, the Celtics, with a tenth of a second left in the game, and then I'm like scrolling through, and I see that, and I'm like, well, no shit that you guys lost, right? Like, how are you gonna do that? It's like
Idiots.
The Yankees, right? Now, granted, biased, live in New England, definitely Red Sox Nation here. The Yankees using the Imperial March as their song. Like,
oh, man.
What do you like?
I don't know. I think that'd be pretty terrifying if you were the other team, though, right?
Yeah, but you're
honestly, it sounds something. This all sounds like it's something like it's out of a Disney, like a '90s teen Disney movie. You know what I mean? Like
totally
The Big Green, or like
or Little Giants.
Oh, Little Giants! It's such a good one with
Little
Ed O'Neill as like the weird, like
so good.
Well-meaning villain in that movie. Like he's super sexist, but he's loving. It's a weird movie.
Well, shout out to Ed O'Neill.
Rick Moranis, we miss you. Well, yeah.
No, but Rick Moranis, we miss you. Like, if you were to come back into acting, everyone at the Say Report would celebrate and cheer. High fives, attaboys would be shared. But I respect the reason why you walked away from acting, my friend. And I especially respect your reasons for not appearing in Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Sorry, that got like real like. somber and
We got
serious
real
for a
with
second
Rick
there.
Moranis for a second. Well, we brought up. Speaking of great actors, like we cannot go a week without mentioning that it is Brendan Fraser History Month. How did we get this deep in?
It is well, because we said last week that we were done talking about Brendan Fraser, so it's going to be quick because, again, there's another special treat for you at the end of this episode. We were able to wrangle Will again to give us another quiz, so if you enjoyed it last week, bonus, you have another one. So
yes.
But
yeah, and if you can keep up with the quiz this week, you're better than me. Anyway,
tell you, the quiz
what you were
that
saying
we have coming up this week, I want that to become like a game that happens in real life. Like, it's beautiful and it's like weirdly specific information in order to get the correct answer.
we should talk to Will about maybe doing some other things like this because this has been fun.
Yeah, I'd love to have more Will, but Will already knows that. But if you're out there and you love Will, let us know because we love Will too, right? That's just the meat and potatoes of it. But yes, it is Brendan Fraser History Month, so for the next 3 minutes, we're gonna lavish some praise upon the man. So, Sejohn, I shouted out Blast from the Past last week. What are you going to tell the people to watch?
I'm going to say, do yourselves a favor and check out Gods and Monsters. I was trying to think of a more dramatic work that we could talk about with him, and as I've already mentioned in the past, I am not a fan of School Ties. And Crash is an obvious one to go to as well, but I think Gods and Monsters is the more interesting one in my book, especially for fans of shows like this. For anybody that doesn't know, it's all about the guy that wrote the Frankenstein film and like the creator of that, and he was a homosexual director in Hollywood, so of course he had to keep that quiet because of the time period. And Brendan Fraser plays a gardener working for him that he has like a weird crush relationship with Ian McKellen playing the older man. So it's a really interesting movie for the two of them. Also, the whole thing's in black and white.
Wow, I got to tell you, there are definite gaps in my Fraser filmography, and that's one of them. So I look forward to watching it.
Yeah, I think it's probably a big one for a lot of people because it was before he became the I'll do anything that moves guy that we knew later on, and a little after his whole like younger phase. So like it kind of wasn't on anybody's radar when it came out. But yeah, check that one out.
So Gods and Monsters if you want your Brendan Fraser fix. And I think that's it for me, right? He's just a great guy. I saw a post today, just tangentially relating it to Brendan Fraser, that said that the only way the new Mummy movie will be any good is if when the sarcophagus opens, he is the one in the sarcophagus, and then they're like, how'd you get here? And then they just show the original Mummy movie.
Oh, no.
That being said, I'm super excited for the new Mummy.
I am.
Shit.
Yeah. I'm super excited for this whole Universal Dark like universe that they're doing. Like I'm kind of in for this whole bringing back all of the Universal monsters in a shared universe thing. Bride of Frankenstein is apparently the one that's up next.
That's gonna be I think that's, I don't know. I feel like that's the one that they're gonna hinge it on. Like the Mummy is their like sort of start, but if
also
that does
interesting choice. Clearly, setting Tom Cruise up to be the Van Helsing type character for this series. Interesting choice to go with a female mummy, and then when you go to do a Frankenstein movie, go to Bride of Frankenstein.
Especially in lieu of the fact that Wonder Woman, which comes out in 2 weeks, kids, still doesn't have any media coverage.
Yeah, that's a whole other mess that we should talk about sometime.
Oh, we're going to talk about it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Very special episode, MCU versus DCEU, coming out just soon from the Say Report.
Getting back to the Mummy, I have a quick question about that Universal Universe stuff. Are they still including Dracula Untold in that or no?
Actually, that's a question that I had. I was driving around yesterday with Jeff Hibbert, friend of the podcast, and he said he's not really excited for the Mummy. Like there's this shared universe, and you think that's kind of cool that they're doing it. But what really boggles his mind is if you're not going to include Victor Frankenstein or Dracula Untold, then what was the fucking point? And
I completely forgot about Victor. I forgot about Victor Frankenstein. I didn't even know that was possibly considered in this. Because, like, for anybody that hasn't seen it, go see Dracula Untold. By the way, it's
Dracula
like
Untold's great. Did we see it together?
I don't think we
drag you to
did.
see that one?
I don't remember if you and I saw that one together because I loved it when I saw it though. I was just like, this is stupid and amazing, and the ending to it is really the kicker for the whole thing.
Not only is the ending is the kicker for the whole thing, and it set up a beautiful shared universe. So,
yeah,
like,
it set up this idea of like an Avengers-esque style like universe for the Universal monsters. So if they don't go to at least Dracula Untold with this, what's the point? Is a good question.
Exactly, and that's an unfortunate question that has to be asked. What's Luke Evan doing? Are they making a sequel to Beauty and the Beast, like set at Christmas time? That would be ridiculous.
Oh my god! If they start doing the Disney sequels as live action reboots, I'll lose my shit.
After money
Return
to be made, they're gonna do it. Jeez, sorry. I'm excited about that universe. That's a shared universe that I am excited about. I really like that Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll in The Mummy.
Yes,
I think that's such a great idea. I don't know, but yeah, it's something that I'm excited about. And one last bit of movie, because we said that this week was going to be primarily about television. A little film came out last week called Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul. Did you see that one, Sejohn?
No, but have we talked about your weird love of the Wimpy Kid movies? Because this is not new, right? Like, you've been doing this.
Here's the thing. Dale celebrating a birthday party of one of her friends this weekend. Their plan was to go to the drive-in and see a movie, and the only one that looked like viable for them was King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul. So after Dale got out of work on Thursday, I'm like, you're not seeing Wimpy Kid without me, because I'm not seeing Wimpy Kid alone. So I dragged her to go see Diary of a Wimpy Kid Thursday night. We're the only people in the 10 o'clock showing of Wimpy Kid, because of course we are. The fact that they had a 10 o'clock showing was ridiculous. And we just enjoyed the crap out of ourselves. Because here's the thing about the Wimpy Kid movies. They are built for fans of cinema. There are these beautiful Alfred Hitchcock moments. There's a great reference to the 400 Blows in it. Like, all of these movies that you're just like, oh yeah, who's this for, right? It's for me and Dale Decker. Because no one else,
awesome.
Like with the film pedigree that we have, is saying, yeah, let's go see Wimpy Kid tonight. And that's what I gotta say, is that the real reason that I bring up Wimpy Kid, aside from the fact that I think it's hilarious that Tom Everett Scott is the father, replacing Steve Zahn.
So it is the same family. They're just
it's the
different.
Same family, just recast.
Okay.
And for the better, if I'm being completely honest with you, the kid was less of a jerk. The kid playing Greg Heffley, and Alicia Silverstone as the mother. Like, I love Rachel Harris. Don't get me wrong. Rachel Harris is one of my favorite actresses right now. It's a shame that I can't think of anything that she's done recently since Suits. She is a harsh woman, like, in a lot of the things that she does. A lot of people, if you don't know who Rachel Harris is, she plays Stu's fiance in the first Hangover.
Nice pull.
Well, no, but she's like a very harsh, like, stern type of actress. And that's how they had her portrayed in Wimpy Kid movies. Is that she's like this stern, like the love, like clearly she's a mother, so she loves her kids, right? Because she'd be a monster if she didn't. But it's not really on display as much as I think you need in a movie that's about, like, even though I'm tough on you because you're a child and you're my child, I still love you. Alicia Silverstone, that came through, like, waves and waves of that were right up there on the screen.
Nice. That's excellent.
And it's like, yeah, like, when Greg hurts his mother and it's Alicia Silverstone, you feel sympathetic to the mother. Because, like, no, she doesn't have this baggage that Rachel Harris brings. I can't think of any movie where, like, Alicia Silverstone has played a character that you absolutely hate.
Yeah, right. And I mean, like, that's just naturally her, right? Like,
and I gotta tell you, seeing her again on the big screen made me super happy. I mean, she's the reason I saw Ass Backwards in theater back in 2013. Was just like, oh, Alicia Silverstone's in it. Don't get me wrong, I like June Diane Raphael and Casey Wilson, but the fact that I could see Alicia Silverstone again, sign me up.
Did she make it into Vamps? I couldn't. I
Oh,
can't. I don't remember if she ended up being in that at all.
I do not remember, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
But
one that's outside my purview. But yeah, so I mean, Wimpy Kid, you don't need to rush out and see it in the theater. But you know, Alicia, it's great to have you back, and I gotta say, I hope that that series continues because like that type of reboot where every character is played by a different actor usually doesn't work out. But it was still a very enjoyable film.
cool, man. I just sat around and studied all of the television stuff that's happening this weekend. That's what I did.
I caught up
So
on all of my season finales.
nah, I
So
don't watch. Okay, so as far as watching shows goes, I'm one of those guys that likes to just have it all ready to go in front of me. So like things like Arrow, Flash, Shield, all of that, I'm gonna get caught up on as soon as it drops on Netflix, which will happen over the next few months. Especially there'll be a big drop for CW stuff in the next couple of weeks here because they've got that whole deal worked out now where it's I think like 8 days after the finale the entire series drops on Netflix. So Riverdale should be up by now. Arrow and Flash should be coming soon. Legends I think might be up already. So I'm gonna get to watching all that sort of stuff. So I haven't actually gotten caught up on much of anything that's happened at the end of this season on anything, but I have been paying attention to the stuff that got picked up for next year and the stuff that got canned.
So let's talk about the stuff that got picked up for next year and the stuff
All
that
right.
got canned.
Yeah. Let's start with some of the new stuff, I guess. Let's do this in some semblance of an order. And here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to mention everything that is coming out or everything that got lost in the shuffle here, but the stuff that's probably going to be the most interesting to us. Starting with number one, new shows, Marvel's The Gifted coming out on Fox. Going to be of some interest to us. An X-Men show on television. Oddly, not the first this year to be talked about.
No, Legion, right?
Legion came out this year.
Watch.
From by all accounts, is a really well-made show. The thing is, it's on FXX, and so I don't know what their standards are for ratings. You know, like I don't know how often they get watched, and if that even matters to them, being buried so deep in cable packages like they are. So Legion is still doing its thing there, as far as I know. It's also not anywhere on this list, so I can't tell you if it got renewed or canceled or what. But The Gifted is going to start up, and that's actually going to be on mainline Fox. So it's another X-Men show. That's the only thing that Fox has rights to anymore, right? Is X-Men stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And that so it makes perfect sense that it's on Fox, even though Fox it's such a weird melting pot. Like, yeah, we got the DC show in Gotham, and then we're also going to have the Marvel show. We're Fox.
The difference, and I think that there's actually going to be a pretty big difference between the two of them because it feels like with The Gifted, they do want to stick to what people know about Marvel. Whereas Gotham, for anybody watching that show that also reads comics, knows that show's off the rails within the first season. Like you don't watch that show to get the comic book style Gotham. That is a Gotham unto itself in that universe.
That show was off the rails after the first episode. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. So that show is awesome, but awesome in its own way. Whereas I think they really are hoping that Gifted hooks in a lot more fans because they need to maintain X-Men rights. Like they need something to work for X-Men, and they can't keep pumping movies out. I think they've realized that they're going to lose this battle if they keep doing just films.
Which is
because
smart,
they don't,
especially riding on the high that was Logan and Deadpool, and which it's a beautiful V shape because Deadpool, Apocalypse, Logan.
Yeah. Well, and so they're really hoping to boost this up more to the Logan Deadpool level, right? So so far things look interesting for that show. I mean, not much to say about it yet because we haven't seen any of it really. Just it's Fox doing its thing with X-Men just on television. I will say that as far as the previews go, it looks beautiful. They're clearly putting a lot of money behind at least the first few episodes of it. So let's see what happens with that.
That's exciting. I haven't seen really anything about it except for the members of the movie universe who are not going to be appearing.
Yeah, right. And then as far as Marvel television goes, I mean, they've been more hits than misses for me if you include the Netflix stuff in there, you know? Like, I really love S.H.I.E.L.D., but also the Netflix stuff has had some really good stuff in it as well, but it's also had its bad moments, so we'll see.
I really liked Peggy Carter, and I think when I watched the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this past week, and it ended with an Inhumans tag, like, coming in the fall, I'm like, oh, that's freaking crazy, because I thought that Inhumans was not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, Inhumans was supposed to be one of the movies that they did after the last Avengers, right? Wasn't it originally on their film slate?
Yeah,
And then
it was
it got
Phase 4, I believe.
but then it got cut a long time ago. It got cut from Phase 4. So you're right. I'm glad to see that it's coming back. And actually, I think it'll work better as a TV show than it ever would have done as a movie, considering what they've done with the Inhumans on Shield, right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's a little weird. Like, is it? I don't know how it's going to be set. Like, is it going to be
Yeah.
set before
In the same universe
destruction
or
of
what?
Afterlife?
Right.
Like, a lot has happened with the Inhumans in Shield, and I think it's great, especially with some of the stuff they did with Inhumans this past season. I know you're not caught up yet, so let me know when you are, because I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know when they're going to set it, but I know that I am very excited to see it explored, especially because for the MCU, the Inhumans have become the mutant surrogate.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because they don't have rights to. Yeah. So it's it'll be really interesting to see what they are able to do with that show. Maybe we'll get some really good classic X-Men stories just told with Inhuman characters. That would be interesting.
It would especially be interesting against a show like Gifted,
Right.
which is also probably going to do more of the classic X-Men storylines.
Hopefully, if that is what it's actually about. Right now, Gifted seems like it's more like a ragtag group, so I'm wondering if it's going to be like an outsider situation or something like that, But I don't know. But let's see. Let's see if there's any non-nerd stuff to talk about. Dynasty. They're bringing Dynasty back. I think with Nashville being as big of a hit as it was for a while, I think they're hoping to kind of do something with that too. You ever watch Dynasty when you were younger, Stephen?
I did. What channel is Dynasty going to be on is my question.
Dynasty is CW, so it seems like it's right in their wheelhouse.
That's fantastic because
Yeah.
I was probably the only fan of the Dallas reboot that TNT did. I loved it because I loved Dallas. Like, between Dallas and Dynasty, I was Dallas all the way.
Yeah.
And loved the Dallas reboot on TNT. And, with the unfortunate passing of, I can't think of his freaking name right now and it's killing me, the Major from, oh my God, JR. Who played JR?
Oh God, why are you asking me this?
I don't
now?
know. I'm
Should have asked me this before. I got it right here. Just keep going.
I saw Barbara Eden this year, so it's even more upsetting that I can't think of his name. But with his passing, they put it into the hands of the younger children. Like, the show really was standing on the fact that you have Patrick Duffy there, you have Linda Gray.
Larry Hagman.
Yeah, Larry Hagman. Thank you. You have Larry Hagman. So it was like this cool continuation of storylines that were like semi-left unfinished from the original Dallas. But then you also have Chris Tucker. Couldn't tell you that actor's name. I'm going to call him Chris Tucker. And Dom's sister from Fast and Furious. They have their whole storyline that is sort of mirroring the Dallas from before. And it was awesome. Like, it was this great show. But then after the third season, they just dropped it. And that bummed me out to no end. But if Dynasty is on CW, I mean, CW canceled 2 shows this year, and that was surprising because the CW doesn't usually cancel anything.
Yeah, usually they're pretty good at getting their audience to latch onto a show at least for a season or two,
And
so
even then, they understand that because like the epilogues that they did for Frequency, that's like unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and let's hope that the CW set a precedent with that. Is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So turning to some half-hour stuff. Big Bang Theory is going to be ending soon, so of course they're trying to keep milking that. So they've got Young Sheldon announced coming out. How do you feel about that, man? I don't watch Big Bang Theory like at all anymore. Like, and I didn't even watch it seriously when I was quote unquote watching it.
Okay, so let me tell you a little story about the Big Bang Theory. I was convinced that this was the last season of the Big Bang Theory.
Like this year?
Convinced myself that this year was the farewell season of the Big Bang Theory. Couldn't tell you why. My brain is like, this is it for the Big Bang Theory. Maybe it's because it felt very last season-y, like bringing back guest stars from the first season and like kind of doing the victory lap that you do, right?
Yeah, right.
And, Howard and Bernadette have a kid now, and like you never see that kid, and it's like, yeah, okay, so like let's not have to keep coming up with a reason where the kid is, right? Like, usually you add a kid to a show like that, it spells the last days.
Exactly.
So it's just like
Ross and Rachel, classic example.
All of these things in my head that I know about sitcoms signal that this Big Bang Theory season was the last season. Renewed for 2 more seasons. I'm a fucking idiot. I will
Surprise!
say that. So the fact that Young Sheldon is starting alongside the Big Bang Theory is very strange to me.
Well, I mean, to me, what it says is they, like you, were probably thinking this was going to be it and like ending it. Like it almost sounds like what happened was from the creative side of things, they just felt like this was the end. And it sounds like CBS on the business side of things was like, no. And they probably cracked the whip and they're going to make them go for 2 more seasons. So if you thought the last few seasons of Big Bang Theory were going downhill, I'll be very interested to see what the next 2 look like, because it seems to me like they weren't ever planning on going this far.
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't think they were planning on going as far past the 6th season.
Yeah.
Like, there are episodes in the 7th season I have never seen. Like, there's an episode in the 7th season that everybody talked about where, like, Amy ruined Raiders of the Lost Ark. And, like, I was in a conversation with a bunch of people, and they're like, yeah, I mean, that episode of The Big Bang Theory really ruined Raiders for me. No idea what they were talking about. And then I, like, went back and watched it, and all it is that Amy Farrah Fowler, Mayim Bialik, says the whole movie would happen with or without Indiana Jones. Like, he has no impact on the film.
That's also not her joke. Like, that's an old joke.
Right, that's true.
I'm just saying.
That's like in Dear White People, when the girl's like, the gremlins are representative of a black element invading a town, and her teacher's like, what a completely unfounded theory. And I'm like, that theory has been written about since the year that movie came out. Like, why are you making the teacher so myopic? Have him be upset with her that it's not new. There's a movie. Don't have him be upset. What a crackpot theory. Well, no, because it's a real theory about the movie Gremlins.
And it's a pretty well backed up one, actually. Oh, man. So Young Sheldon coming out.
This is the only trailer that I watched of anything new coming out. The weirdest part about Young Sheldon is the fact that Bill Ponderosa from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is playing his father.
Yeah.
Do not think I'll be able to divorce that character from that. I'm going to be honest with you.
Amazing.
And also, I'm an asshole. I'm just going to lead with that. I'm pretty up on the continuity of the Big Bang Theory, and a lot of the stuff that happened in the trailer for Young Sheldon seemed to go against the canon of the show.
Excellent.
Just
awesome.
a little bit.
You know what's awesome for a show that's targeted at nerds is to just ignore the canon.
Well, but that's the thing. Big Bang Theory is not targeted at nerds. As you said, you don't watch it anymore. If it comes up in conversation with people, a lot of people say, like, the fact that they call it minstrelsy of nerd and that type of culture is a crazy thing to hear, but then you watch it and you're like, yeah, but I can kind of see your argument, right? Like, that's a crazy argument to make, right?
No, you're totally right. Like, it isn't actually geared towards people like us. It is completely geared towards people like, well, our supposed mothers, right? Like,
yeah, it's geared towards my father. Right. Dennis Decker is the target audience for the Big Bang Theory, because he is a person who cannot stay awake for an episode and will watch it and watch it and watch it until he's convinced he's seen everything. And then even like a month later, if that same episode were on, and I'm like, yeah, you've seen this? He's like, no, I haven't.
No, I have not. Let that episode play for the 1,000th time in this house.
Yeah.
And CBS just gets those ratings, man.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like,
that's their entire business plan is...
Their whole, it works.
Their entire business plan is sit down. You haven't seen this one yet.
And even that, because the stories are oh so similar.
You can't tell if you have or you haven't.
I'm going to have to give it like 10 minutes to figure it out. And then you're halfway through the episode, and it's like, I'll finish it. I've seen it, but I'll finish it.
So one more new show that we should probably mention, talk about, but I don't know how deep we want to get into it right now, because I feel like we're going to talk about this a lot someday. The Orville. We should mention Seth MacFarlane's new live-action comedy drama, and it is being labeled a comedy drama everywhere I've seen it. I don't know why they're like being so like important to stress that part. But it is a spoof on Star Trek. But from what I can tell, it's like an hour long. So I'm wondering if it's going to be more like a like Edgar Wright style. I keep going back to that. I need to stop, find a new reference point.
You
But
love
like,
Edgar Wright. No one's upset with you.
yeah, but there's so many other people I could point to. Um, I don't know if it's going to be a Tarantino style like
If they were
homage
making a
to.
new Spaced, I would be there. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care that it's super removed. A third season of Space, sign me up.
yeah. Yeah, man. They just come back together to get an apartment together again after so many years.
They're married now. They have to be married
My
now.
God,
Like,
that would be
how
so
would you
amazing.
Not, like, you want Daisy and I can't remember his character's name to get together. Mike? No, Mike.
But this is how much we're avoiding talking about this show. Is we're talking about another show
well, because
instead.
I don't know anything about it. A.
Um,
B. If it's hour long, they're
Yeah.
already kind of signing their death warrant, which is a sad thing to say, because one of my favorite failed shows of the last 10 years is Wedding Band, which was on TBS. It starred Brian Austin Green, Harold Perrineau, the guy who looks like Ben Affleck from NCIS Los Angeles,
nice.
the crazy lady from The Office, the cute blonde from The Good Guys. I can't think of names right now, but like I see it. I love Wedding Band. I own 2 copies of Wedding Band on DVD, and there's not a week that doesn't go by that I don't consider buying one of the recordings from that show off of iTunes, because like they're good musically, like it's fun music. But the fall of that show was the fact that it was an hour-long comedy.
Yeah, I don't know
It
like
doesn't work.
how heavy into the comedy they want to go. I'm thinking like if this is like Sunset Strip, you know, Aaron Sorkin's SNL
Another
style
failed
show
show.
that he did. Well, right. If it's gonna be that, like we've seen that doesn't work. So I don't know, man.
It's not that it doesn't work. It's that, I mean, that was a drama, but people were expecting a comedy, and that's totally 30 Rock's fault.
And then 30 Rock came and ate their lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have 2 shows. Like, the idea behind it was a sound one, right? You're going to have 30 Rock and you're going to have Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Both of them are kissing the ass of NBC and SNL. Both of them are just like lavishing praise upon them. But one is, you know, how funny it is working there, and the other is how serious and how dramatic comedy can be.
Right.
But everybody, you put Tina Fey on one, you put Matt Perry on the other one. Tina Fey was the bigger name at the time, and nobody cares about the drama of comedy. They just want to laugh.
Exactly.
I fucking care. Studio
Well,
60
so
on
we'll
the
see.
Sunset Strip.
Well, and so there's a bunch of things going on with this that I'm not too sure about right now. I think that Fox has a really bad habit of not keeping an eye on Seth MacFarlane, and to say that, like, I don't mean to say that Seth MacFarlane in any way, like, I feel like
Take
every
advantage of
director,
them.
right? Exactly. That's what it is. I don't think he's maliciously taking advantage of Fox, like letting him do whatever the fuck he wants. I do think he actually puts his heart and soul into all of the dumb stuff that he does, and then sometimes without anybody else there to tell him no, he doesn't know when to stop. So like things like this being an hour long isn't a perfect example of that. I bet you that if anybody else sat down, they'd be like, you need to shorten this to a 24-minute, like do it. And that would, and it might work beautifully. But the fact that like Fox is afraid to say anything negative to him is like, no, he did an hour long and they just didn't stop him. He just kept filming.
Well, but here's the big thing about the Orville. Until I see a completed episode, until I see 2 completed episodes, because there's going to be a pilot. I believe that there already is a pilot. I'm not going to believe it's really happening. Because do you remember years ago when he was going to remake the Flintstones?
Yeah.
That never happened. But everybody got all up on that.
Yeah, everybody got really excited about that, and that never came to be. So that does it for the new stuff. As far as returning, like, there's really not much that's too big of a surprise, I think.
Well, you know what's a surprise
is there anything
regarding returning? Roseanne.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. I actually think I had that in my new list, but yeah, let's talk about.
I don't know if it was. I mean, it's technically new. I mean, they're picking up where it ended. And
well, to that point, X-Files is also on that list then as well.
But X-Files already had.
That's true. They had their
season.
weird. They had their weird little mini season where they came back.
So they're gonna
but
do
yeah, so how you
feeling
about Roseanne?
Well, I don't know. Like, I like Roseanne. Don't get me wrong. Big fan of Roseanne. And we wouldn't have the Big Bang Theory today if it wasn't for Roseanne, because that's what Gloria really like
I mean, we
became
wouldn't have had Two and a Half Men. We wouldn't have had a lot of
we
like
wouldn't
really.
have had Sybil.
but
I can do this. I can play Chuck Lorre, name that show all day.
even not just Chuck Lorre. I mean, like Roseanne kind of changed television for a lot
It
of
really did.
people.
Joss
So
Whedon worked on it too, right?
yeah, there's I mean, and there's a bunch of actors that we love that went through a very Sarah Chalk, like John Goodman. How could we like John Goodman?
Yeah, no one. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone. Laurie Metcalf. I love Laurie
Yep,
Metcalf.
Laurie Metcalf for sure.
And it's like, yeah, like it's this show that it was a hallmark because like she wasn't the traditional leading lady and all this stuff. Like it changed TV at the time. But then you think about that final season and that final episode of Roseanne, fucking train wreck.
Oh yeah, I mean the second that it was all about her having a bunch of money, it just changed the whole point of the show, and it was just and even a little bit further back than that was John Goodman's like unceremonial exit from the show, and and that was for various reasons, from what I understand, things like health and stuff like that, and also he was just getting too big for television, so like. I don't know.
Poor
Yeah,
choice of words.
the tail.
We love you, John Candy.
Oh no! But the tail end of John Candy's still alive. No, John Candy's not still alive. John Goodman's still alive. What are you doing to me?
That was mean what I just did.
It was what you did. It was, man.
Oh,
Man,
all the time.
you threw me under that really heavy bus. So Roseanne's coming back after a kind of a tailspin of 2 seasons at the end of that show that people generally don't like. So like, where do you go from there?
And apparently, like, Dan is still alive. Dan is not dead, as was the canonical thing. I like that they're bringing back Sarah Chalk and the original Becky. Couldn't tell you who played the original Becky because Sarah Chalk is the one who has a career now. And if the original Becky does, then I'm sorry that I don't know your name. But you think about Sarah Chalk coming in and how weird it was that Roseanne was a show who had 2 actresses playing one character.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, man. So good on them for bringing it back. Like I'll watch and see what they do with it. Do we know where it's going? Is it going to Netflix?
I don't know anything about it except for the fact that it's coming back. And it just seemed like the strangest decision in the world for me.
It is apparently ABC that's doing it, but that doesn't mean that they won't just jump to Hulu with it or something like that.
Well, I think they'd be foolish not to put it on TV. I mean, the only reason that you resurrect a nostalgia show like that is to draw in forgotten eyeballs. That's why nostalgia is so huge. If they Roseanne is coming back, but you need to have ABC on demand, like the CBS All Access for the Star Trek Discovery show seems very odd to me. Because why wouldn't you just sell Star Trek into syndication the way that you did it before? People will eat that up. TBS will pay you hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to have Star Trek on TBS again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. I know.
It doesn't make sense. So if it doesn't come to TV, that'd be odd because people are going to watch. Without question, people are going to watch Roseanne. My family is going to watch Roseanne. And we are firm believers that those last 2 seasons were very odd. Because that's how the conversation went. How are you going to bring Roseanne back?
Yeah. All right, man. So now we come down to we've come to the sad stuff. We've got to talk about the things that are just not coming back, and some of them for obvious reasons. For some of them, just honest goodbyes. The first one that I want to start with is weirdly enough, I got to get this out of the way, but Bones is ending. And
Bones
I don't know.
Ended. It's over, right?
Right. But anybody that knows me knows that I actually had a really weird, deep love for that show. I'm not a very big Monster of the Week type, I can't really do CSI. I can't really do Law and Order, right? But something about Bones hooked me. Honestly, part of that was David Boreanaz.
That's all I was going to say. What hooked you was David Boreanaz.
And Emily Deschanel. The two of them were a really good
Yeah, but why did you
pairing.
first watch Bones? Let's be honest. It was Angel.
Yeah.
Oh, I get to see Angel again? Yay.
Right, and then getting to see him play in this hero character, and then seeing the way that show grew for years, and as silly as it got, and as much as it never took itself seriously, and all that sort of stuff. So goodbye, Bones. I just wanted to put that out there. All right.
Bye, Bones.
But other things that kind of are big for people in our group, Powerless didn't work out. The DC 30-minute comedy, so that's not coming back.
I never knew when Powerless was on. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest with you. Like,
Well,
it
here's the
was Thursdays after Superstore, apparently.
yeah, and the weird thing about Powerless for me, and the reason why I never really gave it the chance that maybe I should have, but a few years ago, when Shield was blowing up on over on ABC, Marvel started talking about, okay, well, obviously we have to look into doing other shows, and one of the very first things that they mentioned was doing damage control, which is this great little concept in the Marvel universe where there is a group of guys that have to go in behind the heroes and clean up after them, and that's what their job is, and they are damage control, and it's this really goofy like Laurel and Hardy-esque like style, but then like they could do some really serious stories if they were going to put it on TV, so that looked really cool. Then, like, not even a year and a half later, suddenly Powerless is like, hey, guess what we're doing? DC is like, guess what we're doing on TV? We're going to do this show, and we're going to rush it out as quick as possible so that it's on air long before Marvel gets a chance to do anything like this. So it felt like it was instantly like DC just swooping in because they got an inkling that Marvel was going to do something like this, and without any thought behind it, because that was the biggest thing about everything in that show for me, is it looked like there was no concept or thought put behind any of what that show actually was. They just caught like a whiff of what Marvel was going to do, and they slapped it on television, and lo and behold, it didn't work out for them. So like, Powerless is leaving, and I think that's for the better, because as far as I'm concerned, like, the DC television universe was great up until that came along.
I am going to say, what I'm going to say is, every time you say Powerless, all I can think of is the Powerless limited edition 6-issue series from the early 2000s. That was a world of Marvel superheroes where powers didn't exist.
Yeah.
So Peter Parker gets bit by the spider, his arm atrophies.
Yeah.
The Hulk is a bipolar. Logan is an assassin, but like he has weird blades that are like weapons like that. And Daredevil's just a blind lawyer. So like they were also treading on a name that means something to me. So I have to imagine that there are other comic fans out there who it means something to.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a really weird. Like I said, it feels like it was a slapdash attempt to try and do something before Marvel got the chance to. The half-an-hour superhero comedy, they wanted to be the first ones through the door on that, and it just didn't work out for them, because from everything that I know about the stories on that show and all of that, I don't understand how it fits into any DC universe. And like, and for a guy that was just praising Gotham 20 minutes ago, like for almost that exact same thing, like that can work, but obviously it didn't this time, as Gotham is the one getting renewed and Powerless is not.
So neither one of us watched Powerless, right? Did you ever watch
No.
an episode of it? I want to hope in my heart that at the beginning there's that opening narration of, this is an Elseworlds story.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the very fact that Batman existed in this universe, because the whole thing is based on a cousin of Bruce Wayne cleaning up after Batman, means that it doesn't happen in the Arrowverse, but it also can't happen in the Gothamverse, because a lot of the stuff that happened on this show would contradict things that are happening in Gotham. So like, what is this connected to? And is it connected just to the comics? Because if that's the case, like, you're going to have to do a lot of explaining week to week what the world is, because, yeah, it's
Can we also talk about how ridiculous it is that Batman would have a cousin?
Yeah, also, right, like this idea that there's a cousin of Bruce Wayne
I'm not
magically.
I'm alone in the world. Well, you have your cousin over, and I'm alone in the world.
Who apparently loves Batman and loves to help out and loves to do anything he can to, like, so then why is this? Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. Yeah, so Powerless is ending. Other stuff for us.
I'm just going to say it. Making History got canceled after 9 episodes, and it breaks my heart. And here's the reason why it breaks my heart. It just ended. The last episode aired last night. No resolution. Like, just, this is our 9th episode. Bye.
The worst kind of cut is just the one you weren't ready for. Oh, man. That is unfortunate.
Well, you know what's unfortunate is they were ready for it, because 13 episodes got cut down to 9. So give us some sort of resolution, guys. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, you guys know what this is happening. Like, you know, Clone High. I hate to bring it up. Like, I think it's awesome that, like, you were ahead of your time with Clone High, and now the world is finally appreciating your stuff. But, like, understand that endings are going to happen. Also, bring back Clone High.
I think the last
now.
I think the last one that I really kind of want to throw out there is Grimm is ending after God knows how many seasons. What was this, season 6 for them? 7?
I didn't know Grimm was still a TV show. I
Oh
honestly
yeah,
thought
man.
Grimm got canceled after the first season.
No, Grimm was huge, man. It's actually a super fun little show. Have you not seen much of it?
I have seen promos, and that's it. And I
6 seasons.
honestly did not know that it was still a show. You
Oh
think it's gonna
yeah.
get a movie? I hope Grimm gets a movie. So
I hope
it
that
is
they.
the first 6 seasons in a movie that NBC ever does.
I mean, it's got a really moderately successful comic book line attached to it that's actually pretty good too, for anybody that's really interested in the continuing adventures of that show. But yeah, no, Grimm was this amazing show with the way that it built lore and stuff like that. Totally like easy to write off. The first season is completely easy to write off. Like if you're not willing to put up with like really bad makeup and really goofy storylines and really goofy, just kind of circumstances and concepts that you just have to be okay with, right? So if you're not in the mood for that sort of stuff, but I think anybody that watches the Arrowverse is more than capable of accepting some of the sillier shit that happens on Grimm to eventually lead to some really scary storylines eventually. Like there's some good monster stuff on Grimm that I really appreciated. And the fact that like I also was watching Grimm at a time when everybody was around me was watching Once Upon a Time, which I also enjoyed, but like to have that nice little darker side to the fairy tale stuff, that was really nice to be able to go to from time to time.
Speaking of Once Upon a Time, since you brought it up, show did a fantastic final episode. Apparently everybody who watched it said that it was a perfect wrap-up to the series, continuing with, like, most of the cast gone.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
It's going to become like Scrubs season 8. It's going to be a mistake. They're going to realize pretty quickly that it was a mistake. Season 9, sorry. It's going to be a big mistake.
Don't get me wrong. I think that season 8 of Scrubs was a mistake too. But season 9 is what you're referring to.
But yeah, you know what I mean. When they go to the teaching hospital.
Actually, the first season of Scrubs that really got me excited about Scrubs again. I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that season a lot, and then I really liked that the doctor guy who was dating the lady who would then go on to be in Happy Endings. I don't know names. Tonight I don't know names. I think he ended up being on Sirens, and I always in my head I felt like this is a continuation of Scrubs. Just for Devin Decker.
Just for Devin Decker. Oh man. But no, that's it, man.
Well, I would like
I mean, there's plenty of other stuff that's been kicked off and brought in and all that sort of stuff. But
okay, so 2 that I would like to bring up is A, Timeless getting canceled and then 3 days later getting uncanceled was crazy. I thought that was an insane turn of events.
Yes.
Because I loved that show. I was very disappointed when they said it was canceled.
Well, it is back.
I don't know. Was that the thing? They're we're going to say it's canceled, and then, based upon the outcry from the internet, we'll uncancel it. I wonder if that was the legitimate strategy behind it.
No, I mean, I think that it's fair to assume that it was one of those shows that was probably right on the line and that the internet outcry was a deciding factor. So I bet you there were 1 or 2 people in that room thinking that exact thought. Cancel it now, but I bet you if people come crying for it, we got to bring this thing back. I bet you that exact thought was in that room.
Excellent. And then the other one that just seems odd to me is Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
my brain just kind of ignored the fact that even happened over the last couple of weeks. But yes, Last Man Standing got canceled.
And I completely understand why Last Man Standing got canceled. Don't get me wrong. It was announced as canceled, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see that. I'm not surprised that's the outcome based upon what Tim Allen has been doing with himself, not on a sitcom. I get it.
It also is a sitcom that was on for 7 years.
6 years.
I mean, yeah.
And
6 seasons, but yeah.
6 seasons, yeah. So, and I'm a big fan of the show. I love to clean my house to it. If I'm going to put on something for noise, Last Man Standing is my choice. And it just seems odd to me, especially when you look at the numbers. 8.1 million is a lot of viewers, right? Or am I wrong? In modern television.
What network are we talking about for them? ABC?
And it was, but here's the thing: it was 8.1 million viewers on Friday night. Friday night shows don't bring in that kind of number,
right?
I mean, so on the one hand, good for ABC for understanding we have the opportunity to end this and avoid further problem down the line. Let's take our shot now. But on the other hand, I don't know. Because there's been a big outcry about that show getting canceled.
Yeah, and it's weird because ABC will never come out and say like, no, we did this, we did A because of B, like that will never happen.
They actually came out and said we did B not because of A.
Because of A. Right? They're claiming not because of A.
It was totally just business. There was no other factor, and that's the reason why like people know what the ratings were, and then it's like, yeah, but as a business decision, it kind of like it makes sense sort of.
Yeah, and those ratings now towards the end of this season, who knows what they'll be when the show comes back, if God knows what'll continue to happen over the next 4 or 5 months, Like,
well,
if
not
any
coming back.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying. Is like it's staring down the barrel of another season's worth of that show and not knowing what is going to happen in the next 5 months in this country. I think you're right. I think ABC just saw the opportunity to step away from a very dangerous situation.
And then so then like the question that I wonder is, CMT picked up Nashville. Nashville went completely off the fucking rails. Can't believe that Nashville got a 6th season, to be completely honest with you. Huge spoilers for Nashville. You killed Connie Britton? Really? She's one of the stars of the show.
Yeah, but she wasn't going to put up with that CMT shit.
No, she wasn't. She's like, I'm done with this. And that's when I stopped watching. I stopped watching Nashville before. That's when it stopped being watched in our house. But then I wonder if CMT, they're doing a lot more original programming now. Like you
think they might swoop in?
They show Last Man Standing all the time. Like if you put on CMT now during the day, usually Last Man Standing is on. So like, why wouldn't they want to keep milking that cash cow?
I mean, if they can get everybody there.
I mean, even if they can't get everybody there, if they can get Tim Allen there, and like just some of the people, like I feel like people would keep watching. I mean, like just make one more season.
Maybe they revamp Redneck Weddings and have Tim Allen come in and host that.
I feel like it's that's the one show of all the cancellations that I've heard that like really makes me wonder, because you don't see cancellations like that anymore. Like that's a very 90s cancellation.
Well, and part of that is because usually contracts nowadays are built in such a way that sort of stuff just really can't happen. It's such a small window to catch somebody at just the right point in their contract where you can say, yeah, we're going to end this thing, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like they aren't firing him. You know what I mean? Like this season ended and they're just not renewing it, which is like a rare opportunity that doesn't seem to happen nowadays for shows that are doing really well or not. You know what I mean? If a show is doing really well, you've got a bunch of actors that are sitting around being like, no, you've got us contracted for quite a while, so you can't just end this right now. A la something like, what's the hospital one that everybody keeps being really racist and sexist on?
Grey's Anatomy?
Grey's Anatomy. Right. Yeah, like Grey's Anatomy, right? Like Grey's Anatomy, you just like that's like a fucking revolving door of actors now because everybody keeps saying inappropriate stuff on that show, right? But they can't do that on Last Man Standing until this very specific moment came up. So good for ABC, I guess.
They're never going to cancel Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
That's their TGIF right now. Thursdays became TGIT. Like, let's revamp something from the 90s, and Thursdays when people watch television, and ABC, and it's just like the Shonda Rhimes night. And if you got rid of Grey's Anatomy from that, like, I honestly don't know if Scandal brings in enough people. Like, I feel like people like that they can have one night of just trash television. No offense to anybody who watches that, but, like, they're like, it's like soap operas at night on Thursday. And that's what ABC is banking on now, right? They have Modern Family and they have that. Sorry about the real O'Neill, Sejohn. I will say that to you too.
No, it's all right. We talked about this off air, but like The Real O'Neills was one of those shows that I was really pulling for, but I also totally get why it's just not hitting with everybody right now. It needed to get out of its stereotype being the punchline of every joke type thing, and they just couldn't get out of that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think that's it, though, right? Do you have any other things to add?
No. Fan favorite, Lethal Weapon's coming back. That's awesome.
Unfortunate. Other favorite, Training Day. I mean, for obvious reasons, sort of just got burnt off on Saturday nights. But I'm excited. That's one I stopped watching after the first episode, even though it was like lightning in a bottle, and I was really excited about it because I knew I would want to sit down and watch the whole series.
No, I think that's all I want to. That's all I want to give any free promotion to now. I'm done now.
Yes. All right, so I can get behind that. Same thing. Can't think of anything else that we missed. So, yeah. Anything else from you, Siege, before we send it over to us taking a quiz that is just the most ridiculous but also greatest quiz I may have ever taken in my life?
I don't know if our Twitter information is at the end of it, so you can catch me at Siege versus the World. And Devin.
Oh, and you can catch me at Devin D. Decker. Also,
Cool.
right, just because this is the moment to do it, this weekend, if you enjoyed watching me play Link to the Past randomized in tournaments, I am taking place in a 24-hour marathon of 6 different ROM hacks of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. So that starts at 7 o'clock on Friday and goes till 7 o'clock on Saturday.
Awesome.
And hopefully I don't make a fool of myself. Or hopefully I do. Who knows?
All right. Well,
So,
with that,
take it away, boys. It's quiz time! And joining us again, it's your favorite, Will Fournier!
for the record,
Hi, guys.
that means that
Welcome
means that
back.
Devin doesn't want to, by the way, just so you know.
Okay, for the record. How was everyone's week apart? I mean, I've had a really busy week. I've got loads done.
Yeah, so many things have happened since we last talked to you.
I went deeper
I mean, all
down
those things
the
in the
Jeremy
news.
London, Jason London, Brendan London triplet hole, and now I'm convinced. I am convinced.
It's official. Okay, I'm glad it's official. I mean,
I'm
they are
looking
all...
over. I'm looking over my notes from Quiz 1, and all I've got is Lucas Brothers burying the bald body of the gay lover. I'm not quite sure what that all means.
I mean, that's, again, a different rabbit hole, but still useful. And that's what matters here. It's still useful.
So quiz number 2. What are we
So quiz
focusing
number 2,
on?
as we spoke about last time, it is a Who Am I based on the crazy hot women who date him in films but wouldn't date him in real life.
So
Okay.
I just want to know: we're naming the Brendan Frasier character, or the female
it's a
character?
point. It's the actress
Okay, just
who
want to make
played
sure.
this character, and it is the facts are based on the actress, not on the characters.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it is them, not about the film. They just happen to have been near Brendan Fraser at times in his life.
Amazing.
That is what we can give. I mean, that is not a fact about these women. It is a true fact. It's not one of the facts.
They just happen to be near him long enough for them to film a movie about it.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Whether that movie was good or not, regardless.
Brendan Fraser was in it. It was probably amazing.
It was probably amazing. So that is all that matters. All right, so we have 4 women to work through. Would you like to start with 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Sejohn, as the loser of last week's quiz, why don't you pick?
I say we start at the bottom and work our way up. So let's start at 4.
Okay, so we're going to start with number 4. So this woman was born on the 26th of March, 1972. She starred in commercials at the age of 18 before moving on to appear in Freaks and Geeks and then into movies. She voices the teacher in Jonah Hill's show Alan Gregory. And she appears in many of her husband's movies along with her children.
Ooh.
So those are your 4 facts about contestant number 1.
Is it Linda Cardellini?
That's who I put as well.
It is not Linda Cardellini.
Damn.
Oof.
I was
It is
the other,
Leslie
the
Mann.
other. The other one I was going to say is Leslie Mann. Fuck. All right, good. So Linda Cardellini was the one I put down though, but Leslie Mann. All right,
Where
excellent.
was Leslie Mann in Freaks and Geeks? I mean, besides under Judd Apatow.
Whew.
Mainly, I believe, there. But she did also appear in a few episodes.
Oh, I'm going to have to go back and watch Freaks and Geeks. That's the best
Yeah,
part
she appears
about
as, I believe she appears as a teacher at some point, and who knows what else. But she is. It is listed as one of her earliest TV credits. So.
Excellent.
And what did she appear alongside Brenny Frasier with?
She was in George of the Jungle.
She plays.
Shit,
Yeah, she plays the love interest in George of the Jungle.
Wow.
There you go.
All right, number 3.
All right, swiftly on to number 3 and or number 2, whichever way you're counting. So born on the 25th of March, 1965, made her Broadway debut at the age of 11, starring in The Innocents and then Annie. Hosted the MTV Awards and appeared in 14 different outfits during the course of the show. Has dated Robert Downey Jr. and also John F. Kennedy Jr. Has got 9 Golden Globe Award nominations, all for the same show, winning 4 of them.
Oh dear God!
No
I have
idea.
no idea. I'm gonna put down Kathy Bates. That's what I'm gonna say.
Interesting choice.
Is it that the girl from The Mummy? I can't think of her name.
Rachel Weisz. Rachel Weisz.
It is not Rachel Weisz.
Is it Kathy Bates?
I can give you guys. It's not Kathy Bates either. I'm afraid to say.
Right. Damn it.
I can give you a clue with the name of the film.
Okay,
if
let's
I can
do
remember it, because I've lost it.
If I can remember.
Is it Jessica Lange? All right, here.
It's not Jessica. Jessica's good. Stick with Jessica though. True that. The show that she appeared in on Ongoing was incredibly famous. I thought Devin mentioned it yesterday, but it turns out he was talking about a completely different show. Which was not going to help you at all, Sejohn. I apologize.
No, it doesn't in the least help me.
Devin was waiting to watch it with his cat, but it wasn't on.
Oh! I know who it is now. Oh, I can't think.
Because you mentioned Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll.
Yes.
But from the WhatsApp, message bit, I could just see. I have been waiting to hear when the next season of Sex and was all I could see.
Is it Jessica Chastain?
No, it's Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh.
Oh my God. Parker. Whew.
It is. She and Brendan appeared in a movie together, which I completely lost. But she definitely was in a film with Brendan Fraser. Don't you worry.
Is it Preezy's Honor? I feel like it's Preezy's Honor or With Honors. I feel like it's that.
No, she played the gorilla in George of the Jungle, right? That's the other love story in that movie. Yeah.
No, it's actually much more higher profile than that, and one of his wonderful movies. She was the love interest in Dudley Do Right.
Oh my God!
Wow, I feel like
I haven't seen that movie since theaters, and I completely forgot everything about that movie.
Wonderful Canadian mountain Dudley Do Right, who comes. It's basically a slightly more goofy version of Due South.
How good is Due South, right?
It's one of my favorite. It has one of the greatest theme songs of any TV series.
It also has one of the greatest character replacements ever on television.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who can suck a dick compared to how they did it on Due South.
Oh yeah, the completely just went, oh no, it's the same guy, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's undercover. Shh.
He's undercover, so he changed his face.
Yeah, we got a new guy to pretend to be him. It was fine.
Because the original guy is now undercover, but we need to keep up appearances.
Yep, and everyone will realize that the guy, the tall, bald guy, has been replaced by a short guy with blonde, spiky hair. No difference. Don't worry about it.
What is number 2?
Okay, number 2 and or 3. Born on the 10th of June, 1965. I was given my first modeling job at the age of 29 with no prior experience. She dated Hugh Grant for a long time, and he is now godfather to her children.
Elizabeth Hurley. It's Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley. It's Elizabeth Hurley.
It is Elizabeth Hurley.
To be fair, they don't date in Bedazzled. He's trying to get that other girl. But they do appear tangentially together.
They are nearby each other often on screen.
Also, like, this is the time...
And there's definitely sexual tension there. Like, that's half the jokes of those movies, of that movie.
Yeah, because she's the devil.
Yeah, she has one role, and there it is.
Also, can we talk about how Hugh Grant cheated on Elizabeth Hurley, and somehow it was Elizabeth Hurley's career that went in the toilet?
Hollywood? Ta-da!
Yeah, I mean, another conspiracy. You can add it to the list. There's so many. Also, the other issue might be that Hugh Grant is in some ways talented, and then there's Liz Hurley, who has talents, but they are not the same as Hugh Grant.
Oh, man.
Dude, it's... Wow.
Are we talking about his giant teeth? Is that what we're talking about?
And his ability to be in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That is really why I like Notting Hill, is because it's two people with giant teeth coming together.
God,
the kids
kissing...
look ridiculous.
Can you imagine what the sound must be like when they kiss? It's just like clicking. Everything would click together.
The sound editor did have a tough time. I've read his reports. It was horrible. He said nothing worked. They had to keep reshooting scenes.
Can we take that back? We keep getting a weird click on the mic. What is this?
Is somebody doing castanets? Nope.
No, just making out with you.
Just making out with Hugh Grant again.
All right, number
I
one.
mean, that's Hollywood. All right, and on to the last and first final woman of the Brendan Fraser women. Born on the 7th of March, 1970. Her father is Hungarian. Her mother is Austrian. Has an Olivier Award for Best Actress.
Rachel Weisz.
Indeed, straight in there
Yep.
with the answer before the last two wonderful clues that would have given it away even more.
I feel like Rachel Weisz thinks about him as like a really good friend. I feel like Brendan Fraser's been friend zoned by Rachel Weisz. That's what I feel like in the real world.
I feel like
In the real world, not in The Mummy, because that's weird.
No, not in the Mummy. In the Mummy, she's all over that dick. But no, in the real world, she's just like, this has been great, but I'm gonna go over here now. Essentially,
Yeah, I'm gonna go and speak to Daniel Craig. He's bigger and better.
you
than
guys
me.
are being real polite in this situation, but
Because it's Rachel Weisz. You know she's real polite.
100% believe Rachel Weisz views Brendan Fraser as a conquest because she was able to continue past him. He was just one more step on the ladder to her. She was in 5 movies last year. That girl works. And
I mean,
She is
and then
busy.
not to add, and then add to that her whole like save the world like side of her life where she's just off like fixing everything. Yeah, no, Rachel Weisz is
So
pretty.
you're suggesting purely she used him as a stepping stone, notch on the bedpost, do some movies about mummies, and then just go from here.
If anyone in Hollywood is a witch, and here's a new conspiracy theory, it is Rachel Weisz, and she sees someone who's super popular, leeches off their popularity, and then jumps ahead. That's why,
and then suddenly that person is just left behind in the dust, and nobody can.
I mean,
figure
that
out
would
why.
explain his possible blonde hair, red eyes, everything else. If she sucked his power and life force,
Maybe he's like
Yeah,
maybe
well
he's
be it.
kind of like a what is it, a Renfield for
A
her.
familiar?
Like he's like he's out there like eating rats and bugs, like collecting souls for Rachel Weisz. Maybe that's what his life is now.
And that-
and as he grows weaker, she grows stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
because
That's why
he
he's
was
burying
the
stuff
one
in the
she was
backyard.
She was the one she was able to get her claws in deepest. Because she
Yeah.
tried with Paul Rudd with The Shape of Things, but the Judd Apatow crew came in and saved him.
Mhm.
And then like she tried again with Ryan Reynolds in Definitely Maybe. And then she went
Yep.
back to the well that was Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, and then after that, she tried with Ray Fiennes, but Ray Fiennes was having none of that shit.
Do you think possibly she's used all of the London triplets? Because none of them look good.
That would explain a lot. She's gone for all 3 of the brothers. Yeah.
I mean, all of them have got some issues now. Assuming Brendan Fraser's photo is accurate, they've all got some problems.
Well, this has been awesome.
This is certainly
Yeah.
something for us to look into for a future Say Report.
The Rachel Weisz episode. Just see where you end up.
The Rachel Weisz report. Yeah, we could definitely do a
Yeah,
Rachel
right.
Weisz report.
If anything, we at least get on her radar enough for her to suck away our popularity. That's never gonna happen.
I mean, you're just opening yourself up for issues if you do that. If you offer yourself as sacrifice,
You could be the next Benny
I think-
Phrase,
you could be hated by Hollywood.
or
for
worse,
no-
you could be the next London brother.
You could be another one of the Londons.
Devin London does have a nice ring to it, though.
You'd be the most
Yeah.
charismatic out of all 4 of you, though.
That's that one of these
Yeah.
things is not like the other. It'd be like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Baldwins.
I don't think they're as much of a Hollywood powerhouse family as the Baldwins. The
I don't
Londons.
know if
They
I'd
don't
call
have
it a
an
powerhouse
Alec.
family.
They don't have an Alec.
Yeah.
True, they haven't got one who can do things.
Well, this
It's a shame. I mean, Billy Baldwin was great in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but that's
that
about it.
Danny Baldwin in Fair Game, or is that Billy too? I don't remember.
They're all the same. There's only
I saw
one
some
of them.
great
Really.
Stephen Baldwin movie the other night on TV where he was just on TV saying a bunch of racist, problematic shit. Or maybe that was
Yeah.
just Fox News.
Could have
Well,
been. He
He
could have
is
been any
friends
number.
with Trump,
of
right?
people.
After their time on
Yes.
The Apprentice.
Right.
All right. Well, Sejohn was trying to wrap this up because this was a lot of fun. Will, you are welcome back on the Say Report at any time. Open invitation.
I would love to.
Because we'd
Yes,
love
we
to
Thank you
have you.
kindly.
We need some opinions from maybe outside of the States sometimes. So maybe we need to get on that.
We would do a how the media is viewed, how your world news coverage that you guys get versus the world news coverage that I get.
Yeah, I feel like we could have some really interesting conversations regarding that.
There's a lot of the way that things appear, because I read the English news sometimes as well, and then I get bits of Australian Fox News, and no one knows what that means.
Well, we could just talk about some Australia stuff for a while too, because it's you guys are not all sunshines and roses right now either. So
no, we've got a couple of issues. As a currently non-citizen, I have no bearing on anything that's happening.
Yeah, man with no country. Yeah,
I'm just enjoying the sunshine. It's fine. Which I'm going to go and do now.
All right,
wander down to the beach. Thank you very much for having me, gentlemen.
Thank you for being here. Until next time, I'm Devin Decker.
I'm Sejohn Sarwick.
Thanks for listening to the
With apologies to your mother. I'm Will Fournier.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Sejohn Sarwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so it's delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.